Hello, hello, hello. How are you all doing tonight? Hi, Grace. How you doing? She says, hi, they're sweet lifers. I'm doing so good. How about you all? I'm doing well tonight. Thanks for coming in. Hello, V. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well too. Yes. Hope y'all are doing well. So, how was your day so far? Yes. Yes, I did my squats. Today. I put out my day one squats on the video as well. So my day one is a short, and then my day two was a long form video. I have not put out the day three yet. So V says, good tired from these squats. I know, man. It does like really work, you know, your legs. Maybe those legs be sore. Yeah, after so many squats, they get really sore, especially when you're doing it every day, and if you're not used to doing it. Hi, Michelle. How are you doing? Michelle's Mirror here. Hello, hello. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. And if you all have any non-scale victories that you all want to share with us tonight, go ahead and share that in the chat as well. Greatly appreciate it. Let's celebrate each other. Everyone saying hi to one another. Okay, you're good. Wonderful, Michelle. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, so Grace says, as if I needed more reasons to not go potty. Squats are the devil. Hashtag squats are the devil. That is so funny. Oh boy. Yes, honey. Yeah, sometimes I realize that, once you exercise, sometimes, especially, depending on how much you're exercising, it will make you have to go to the bathroom. That's funny. Hi, Jen. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let us know if you're celebrating any non-scale victories, so we can celebrate with you. All right, all right. Yes. Yeah, those squats, honey, they ain't no joke. Even if you're used to them, they're not no joke. They it's a lot that it can help you with though, which is awesome. When it comes to squats. So like, some of the benefits to the squatting is, helping with making sure that you don't, lose as much muscle. It's a compound movement, so therefore it definitely helps with different areas in your body. But it does help you, try to control the loss of muscle that we all can experience, especially as we get older, or just losing weight and things of that nature. Also, it can help boost your metabolism and help with body composition, right? Burning calories and squats. They improve, like, your like ratio from the fat versus your lean muscle mass, which we kind of find out on our DEXA scans. Yep. It definitely helps with your core, especially if you're engaging your core, and it also strengthens the bones. Yes, yes. So that helps, but it's other things that it can help with as well. So Jen says, "Hi, ladies. No NSVs this week. All right, all right. I got you. I got you. All right." So Michelle says, "I could not eat at the state fair. I don't know if it's NSV, but my taste buds has changed." So NSV, for those who may not know, is non-scale victories. So on this channel and within our community, we not only, if we're on a weight loss journey, we not only celebrate the scale going down in our favor, or sometimes up in our favor. But we also celebrate non-scale victories. So, when you come in the chat, go ahead and say how you're doing. You also can let us know what your non-scale victories are, because we want to celebrate with you. Some people don't have anybody to share, their journey with. So I want to make sure that we are celebrating one another, because that's what community is all about. So level up, stress down. Hi, Nia. How are you doing? Thanks for coming in tonight. Hope you're doing well. And if you have any non-scale victories or scale victories to share with us, let us know in the chat. All right. So Michelle says hello to level up. All right. So V says real, and her channel is Real Journal Talk with V. Real Journal Talk with V. All right. She says, question, did you have a DEXA scan? I don't know if I missed the video. For me, I did do a DEXA scan. I did not do a video on it. That was my first one. I said I would do the video once I thought about just doing the video once I get my second one, so I can have something to compare to. With me getting the first, I didn't know a whole lot about DEXA scans. I just kept hearing people talk about it in our community. And I was like, that would be something that, interesting to, to go and get. So I did. And at the time I had like a C minus, but it didn't look too bad. Like some things were really good, some things weren't. But I didn't actually share it on the channel, because I'm still trying to figure out what was, what all the things, meant. So yeah, I couldn't like explain it that well. So I was like, I'll just wait until I get this second one, and then I can like compare it and maybe, give more information on my channel about it. Did you get one, V? You want to share on here tonight? I can. Let me see. Let me see if I can go into my little app that has the DEXA. Got to find the app again. All right, let me see. I got so many apps on my phone. All right, so I went to this place called DEXA Fit. And at the time, my biological age was 60. Okay. Which I'm 51. So that was kind of funny to me. But let me see. They gave me, let me see, I'm going to look at the summary real quick. Yeah, it was a C minus. That was my body score at the time. This was my first, ever getting a DEXA scan. And so, normally it's like the baseline. And then when they go and do this, if I do a second one, then it kind of can tell you a little bit more about, how I'm really doing. But at the time, I had fear in my lean muscle mass. Like my lean muscle mass was 102, but my target was 108. The total mass? It said needed focus. My total mass was 194, but my target was 150. The visceral fat was 2.49 at the time. The target was 1 pound. So that was needing focus. And then my T-score was excellent at 1.70. So yeah. So that's just a summary of it. But like I said, I would when I get a new DEXA scan, then I'll be able to, really compare. And then I can actually talk to the people that, help us, that does the actual scanning, to kind of give me a little bit more insight in it. Now that I know, how it looks and what I'm looking for. Hello, Shia Samika. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. If you're celebrating something, let us know. All right. So Nia says, I love that. So everyone can celebrate each other. Yes. Yes. All right. Felicia Marie B. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well today. All right. So V says, my goal is to schedule one next month. Okay, great. So yeah, try to get as much information as you can to understand it, V. So that way, if when you go, if you decide to share it on your channel, you'll have some information. The lady that did my deck, so she was kind of, it was like a rush thing. So at first it sounded good when I was in there, but then when I left, I'm like, huh? Like, what about? Yeah. So I was just like, I have to figure it out. And then, like I said, when I go back, then I can ask more questions and be able to have something to compare it to. All right. So Traveling T says, good evening. First time here. I hope it's okay. The channel popped up on my homepage tonight. Oh, great. All right. Traveling T, welcome in. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to Kim J Sweet Healthy Life. Are you on a weight loss journey, a GLP-1 journey, better health journey? Traveling T, let us know in the chat. All right. So beautiful. How are you, beautiful? She says hello, and she wants to say hello to everyone in the chat. All right. So Felicia says, hey to V. Level Up Stress Down says, hit that like button or double tap the screen from a mobile phone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, thank you, Nia. Hit the thumbs up, y'all. Greatly appreciate it. Tamika is welcoming Traveling T. Michelle is saying hey to everyone. So is Felicia. Hi, Jazzy. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well today. Okay. Z is your name Z? For short. I think so. I think I remember you saying Z. All right. Non-scale victory. My A1s. And how are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. All right. So non-scale victory. My A1C went from an 8.9 3 months ago to a 5.7. Fasting glucose of 97. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You are doing the thing. I'm so proud of you. That is great. In 3 months, that is awesome. Yes. 8.9 to 5.7, y'all. So that 8.9 was a high A1C in the diabetic range. But that 5.7, that's back in that pre-diabetic range, almost just shy of being back in the normal range. So I'm so excited for you. So excited. Proud of you. All right. So V says, hi, beautiful. Hi, cousin. It's for what Felicia's talking to Michelle. And Traveling T, she says, hello. All right. She is Tamika is saying hey to several people. Okay. So Traveling T says she's been on mounjaro since October 2023 to improve my A1C. Awesome, awesome. I'm on mounjaro myself, and as you notice, other people in the chat, they're on mounjaro as well. And so I had a A1C of 15.1 in July of 2024, July 3rd, matter of fact. I went to get a regular annual checkup, right? And found out through blood work that my A1C was 15.1. First time diagnosed with diabetes, type 2 diabetes, that is. And I was able to get my my A1C down within a few weeks, back down to 12. And then after that, it just kept gradually going down. Now, I started my mounjaro journey at the end of the month, July 2024, July 30th to be exact. And so my A1C actually went back down to the normal range by January of 2025. Matter of fact, I think it was already at the normal range in December, but I did not get it, rechecked as far as blood work is concerned until January because of the scheduling of my endocrinologist. But yeah, so I'm with you on that. How you can get that glucose down, very quickly if you're doing all the things that's needed for your body. Okay, so hopefully, Traveling T, your A1C is doing well because you've been on it for a couple years now. So almost 2 years. So hopefully you're doing much better with your A1C as well. And you have a non-scale victory to share with us tonight. All right, everybody's just saying hello to one another. Hi, Anissa, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. If you have a non-scale victory, let us know in the chat. So Samika says, awesome. She is congratulating those in the chat with non-scale victories. As well as Miss V is saying congratulations as well with her emojis. All right, so Felicia is congratulating you too. IDEO? Or is it IDEO? All right. Good evening, Darium. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing well. So he says, good evening, Kim J and the Sweet Life Squad, visitors, friends, and newbies. Thanks for coming in, Darium. I greatly appreciate it. If you're celebrating non-scale victories, let us know. Or scale victories. Scale victories are okay too. Yes, Z. I thought so. I remember that. I was like, okay, I got to remember because I may not be able to say the name like I should, but I definitely can say Z. So, and I like being more personable anyway, so that works. Z works for me. All right, so you're on Ozempic, okay, and diagnosed in June. Okay, so you're doing very, very well. Again, kudos to you. Kudos to you, Z. All right. Yeah. So Darian says, congratulations on your A1C win. Yes, yes. See? Awesome. All right. So Felicia says, wow, Traveling T, you have been on mounjaro journey for a while. Awesome. Yes. Wow, wow, is what Anissa says. All right. So Darian says, welcome to the chat and hope you can find some friendly support here at Traveling T. Yes, yes. And on my channel, I call my subscribers the Sweet Life Squad. Okay. And we're over here living a sweet, healthy life, or at least trying to get to that point where we, feel like we have that sweet spot, to be able to have better health, right? Yes, we want to lose weight. Some of us, yes, we want to, you know, um, you know, celebrate each other. But we want to make sure that more importantly, besides losing weight, that we are also celebrating non-scale victories as well. So like, for instance, comorbidities that some of us have, for instance, diabetes, high blood pressure, sleep apnea, heart conditions, kidney disease, things of that nature. So, and of course, if you have obesity. So those are things that we're celebrating, but we're celebrating other things as well. You don't have to be on a GLP-1 to follow, the Sweet Life Squad or my channel. But, a lot of us that are in the chat, they are actually on some kind of better health journey. All right. So Darian says, I'm glad your body and Ozempic is getting your glucose together. Yes, yes. All right, Nicole, how are you doing, Nicole? Hope you're doing good. She says hi to the SLS, which is short for Sweet Life Squad. Everybody's saying awesome, Z. All right, and this says, I hope I am like you and I'm back into the normal zone. I pray that you are and you will get back to that. Of course, you have to, you'll find out when you do your next blood work how you're doing. And I'm hoping and praying for you, Anissa, that you also can get back to that normal range ASAP, sooner than later. Yes. Keep you in my prayers. All right. So Tamika says hi to Nicole. Darren says hi there. Tamika and so many other people. All right. Tamika says happy to know I'm on day 72 of 75 soft challenge and getting through this squat challenge. Right. I understand. And picking up what you're putting down, Tamika. Yes. She went on a 75 soft challenge and she's on day 2. So she's excited about that. Doing this chat, doing the 75 soft, I mean, it's a lot of days, right? 75 whole days. That's a lot, right? And so I understand where you're coming from. Now, for me, I'm hoping to continue on with some of the things because I'm also, for those who don't know, are on the 75 soft challenge as well. We started the same day, me and Tamika and I. And, you know, while I understand where you're coming from with some of the stuff, because you got to make sure you're doing, all the things. But the good thing about the 75 soft is if for some reason, you can't get to something, you can give yourself grace. It allows for grace. It allows for flexibility. So sometimes, like when I can't get to a particular thing that I opted to do on my 75 soft, I will do it, maybe the next day, especially like if I went out of town, and I've been going out of town, quite often this summer. And so some days I could not get to certain things. So, what I would do is like just kind of make up. Now, I didn't have to do that, but I chose to, try to make up as much as I can. So yeah, that's that. But I understand that. And that squat challenge, yeah, that squat challenge ain't no joke. But you do it. You seem like you do it so effortlessly, Tamika. All right. So Darren says, you're doing all the things in the best way. She is, Tamika. Yes, she is. Kudos to you, Tamika, aka gorgeous. All right. So Darren says, sending you prayers and glucose control vibes at Reset with Anissa. Okay. So Beautiful says, yes, Anissa, a normal range. Also in agreement with Kim and praying for you. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. How's your 75 soft coming along, Kim J? I'm doing good on it. If I had to grade it, it won't be an A. Maybe a B, C. Probably a B, between B minus. Yeah. But I'm doing good on it. I enjoy it. Like I said, the great thing is like if I was to try to do that 75 hard, I would have been failed long time ago. But the soft to me was challenging. Some of the things that I chose to do, it was not something that I normally would do. So yeah, that was challenging. And just trying to make sure I'm disciplined to do this particular thing every day. That could be challenging for me. Some things weren't, that challenging. Like the nutrition part wasn't challenging for me. The exercise wasn't really challenging for me because I was already doing that. I had already put those things in place. But the reading and the listening to the books on Audible, yeah, that was a little bit more challenging for me. So some days, like, okay, so if you wanted to read a book, you read 10 pages of the book. If you wanted to listen, you listen at least 10 minutes of the book. And even though I have a lot of books on Audible, that doesn't mean I always, choose to listen at them. So, but I've enjoyed, making myself listen at them. Two of the books that I read or listened at was, oh Lord, I can't remember the name of it now. Oh, Woman Evolved. And then also I'm listening at now, The Let Them Theory. So yes, those two books are very, very good. Woman Evolved, that is by Sarah Jakes Roberts. And The Let Them Theory is by Mel Robbins. Very, very good books. Oh, and then the water, getting water in 90 ounces of water in per day, what I was doing was half my body weight. Some people do 3 liters. Some people, decide to do half the body weight. It's up to you how you do it. Like I said, it's flexibility. It provides flexibility for, the individual. So yeah, 90 ounces were I was able to do that most days, but like when I was going out of town, that was hard to do. Especially traveling, in a car or even on a plane, because I don't like, using the lavatories in the plane. So yeah, that could be, that was a little harder for me to do. But other than that, yeah. But I think I did really good though. So Ms. Nikki, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let us know if you're celebrating something today. So Tamika says, I've been flexing since day 30. Yes, I got it. Yep, yep, yep. And mine is off and on. Mine is sporadic. It's not, some I can go boom, 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 boom every day doing right. And then, then I may, fall off a little bit. But like I said, normally like with the reading, I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and try to, kind of make up. So some days I'm like, instead of doing 10 minutes, I'm going to do an hour of reading, of listening at the reading. So I can make up for lost times. All right. All right, so Z says, thank you. I am sure Anissa will be back in the normal range soon. Yes, yes. Thank you, Z. All right, Beautiful says, what was the second book? Yeah. So I'm not sure if you heard me, but it was the Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. Yes, Let Them Theory. By Mel Robbins, right. Thank you, Darian. Many thanks, Darian. Yes, yes. Thank you so much. So, all right. I want to come on today to talk about not letting the past derail our future. And when I talk, I'm talking to you as well as me. Some of this I may need myself more than some of you. So, but talking, just about not letting the past derail your future. I know some, in the past, a lot of times, especially if you're in a weight loss or just better health journey in general, past experiences, may have not been sustainable for us. So say, for instance, just say keto diet. Some people can do the keto diet very, very well. Some people, not so much. A lot of people, not so much. But there are people that can, that it is sustainable for, right? And so for those who are not, that it was not sustainable for, of course, for some reason it wasn't. Maybe you just got tired of eating so much protein, or you wanted more. Most of the time it's that you crave more carbs, right? Because you were not getting any, almost nothing, right? You can only get like 20 carbs per day, or net carbs per day. When they say net carbs, we're talking, total carbs that's on the nutritional label, total carbs minus the fiber that's in the food. And so that would be considered the net carbs. But even though, like for me, I was a meat eater, I love eating meat mainly. Like my plate is more of meat than anything. But, when you tell me I can't have carbs at all, or very, very little carbs, or a trace of carbs, because when you're talking about 20 carbs, you're talking like a trace of carbs. And that would be like more so like in your veggies, you'll have some carbs in some veggies. So you had to eat more so non-starchy veggies. And that could be, while non-starchy veggies are very, very good to me, I was missing potatoes and I like Cokes, Coca-Colas, classic, original flavor. But, I missed that. And when it was time to like maybe go out to like a restaurant, I wanted to, to have a Coke with, when I, with my dinner. And so things like that. Also, like I said, just because I could not have, the corns or the mashed potatoes, the rice, no kind of rice, mashed potatoes, none of that, then, that kind of got me to the point where after so long, I would be like, okay, I derailed the plan. I did not want to keep going, and I just went back to my old habits. And then it seemed like once you derailed it and you decided not to go back on keto, for me, then I start craving even more carbs, which means I really truly just derailed the, the regimen or the diet. So, I know when some people that have gone on now the GLP-1 medication, mounjaro, Zepbound, or Ozempic or Wegovy, you know, they may have like remembered what they did in the past and hoped that, that these particular medications would help them better, so that they can lose the weight, and have better health. So, but in the back of your mind, you're like, I hope this is not going to be, just like the other diets that I've been on. Same thing with Weight Watchers. Like after a while, you get tired of, counting those points sometimes, whatever. You want to start eating, especially if you're a person that, has a lot of social gatherings that you go to and things of that nature, or you have a lot of family members in your home and they're not eating like you. That can sometimes derail your, your progression, and to, get you off your plan. And it's not because it was set to do that. It's just, it just happens. Life happens, right? So with that being said, some people, when they, jumped on the GLP-1 medication, in the back of their mind, they're thinking the same way when it comes down to, how it was in the past. So again, I want to, encourage everybody tonight. Don't let your past struggles or, mistakes, derail your future, because GLP-1 medications, they're tools that can help you when it comes to, having better health, or being successful, making sure that your health, becomes better or stays better. Because some people, they may not have but maybe one morbidity, but there are people that have, multiple morbidities. Like for instance, me, I have, initially I had high blood pressure, and I've had that over 22 years. And then I developed kidney disease after so many years of uncontrolled blood pressure. And then last year I developed type 2 diabetes. So also my kidney doctor was telling me, just by looking at the back of my mouth, that I have sleep apnea, And so I talked to him about it. I'm like, you know what, since I've been on this medication, I stop all the snoring. I'm not snoring as much anymore. Really, very, very few times. Like if I lay on my back, I may snore a little bit, but it's a very, very faint snore if I do. So, these medications, for the things that I just mentioned, and then other things that people are here in the chat that they're on the medication for, it is really, truly helping them. No matter the naysayers, no matter what they say about, this medication, we are proven testimonies that the medication works when it works. Okay. And then that and especially if you're using it as a tool and not like it's another fad diet. So I think, that's important for us to remember those things, so that we can, make sure that we are as successful as we can be on these medications. Now we should be doing everything that we can do naturally, right? Just like everybody else, the ones that are not on the GLP-1 medication. However, we have this medication to help us as well to like level up a little bit, if you will, to make sure, that we become healthy. And like I said, it's been helping a lot of us, a lot of us have testimonies on how great this medication has helped us, with our scaled victories as well as our non-scaled victories, including our blood work and things of that nature. So yeah, that's what I want to talk about tonight. So before I get into in deeper, hi, Miss Linda, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Darium, hello. I'm sorry, hello. Please, Darium says, please make sure to smash the like button. Thank you, Darium. Says hi to Miss Linda. Please send my regards to Mr. Michael. Yes. Praying for him. Jen says as well, I know you all did a 7-day challenge. I love y'all union, Miss Linda. Great stuff. So yeah, let him know that everybody says hello. And I enjoyed him when he came on your channel with you. All right, as well as when you all went on Traces of Twan's Life channel. So Jen F says, I love a Coke with dinner. Yes. Yes. I had to give up the Coca-Colas for a while, Jen. Had to give them up for a while. And I drink, them periodically now, but normally I drink the zero sugar Cokes, or sometimes like when I'm out, and normally it's when I'm out of town. I normally don't drink it at home. But like if I'm going out of town, I can try to get a little fancy, feel like I'm not on anything, just normal me. Yeah, I'll drink some, like maybe I have a Coke Zero and then I top it off with a little regular Coke. Yeah. And it tastes really good. All right. Hello, Miss Twan, Trace of Twan's Life. How are you doing tonight? Hope you're doing well. All right. So Felicia's saying hi to Twan as well. Hello, Bellflower. How are you doing? She says hi, Kim J and the SLS Sweet Life Squad. Thanks for coming in tonight, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So Felicia says hello to Nikki. Uh-oh. V says hi to Linda, Twan, and Bellflower. All right. So everybody's saying hello to each other. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Hi, Mia. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I love that you finally put your picture up. You also have now your cat and your picture up. Yes, yes. So we can love on you both and see how beautiful you are. All right. So Isdarium says greeting to Miss Twan. Uh-oh. I'm sorry. Felicia was saying, yes, Miss Linda, praying for you and your family. All right. Michael said hello to the chat. Hello, hello. Howdy, Mia, Darium says. All right. So everybody's saying hi to one another. Oh, Mia says, I love you guys. Thank you. We love you too, Mia. We love you too. Look. Mm-hmm. All right. So yes. If y'all are for those who coming in to the chat a little later, make sure you're letting us know if you're celebrating any scaled or non-scale victories so that we can celebrate you as well. Greatly appreciate it. Okay, so with my my topic of not letting your past derail your future, and that knowing that the GLP-1 tools will help with lasting health success, because of course we want to make sure that we are not only living a long life, because most people want to live a long life, right? So you want to live a long life, but you also want to live a healthy life, right? You want your health span and your lifespan to be long. And so we can do this. And partly the way we can do this is with this GLP-1 medication that we're on, or if you're not on one, just making sure that you are, doing the things you need to do to better your health. All right. So, got a little sniffle here, Lord. So with that being said, just looking at your past versus, your future, one of the ways we can, just kind of compare the two, thinking about the two is, by looking at your mindset, thinking about your mindset and what are you thinking? How did you think in the past? And how are you thinking now? And just being able to shift that mindset to something that's going to be more positive, something that's going to be more, that's going to help you with, your new way of living. You want to make sure you're doing that. The things that may have derailed you in the past, you don't want to go into your new journey with those things. So you may want to kind of like soul search a little bit and try to figure out, well, why did I go through this? What made me feel this way, or what made me do these type things? And that way, when you're on your now better health journey, the one that you want to be sustainable, right? By being on this GLP-1 medication, if you're on a GLP-1, then you can say, okay, I need to do some shifting. Okay. And shifting of the mind is so important. And that's almost first and foremost to do. Make sure you're doing your mind shifts to be able to make sure that you are ready this time to, do what you need to do to get the job done, right? To meet your goals. So, just realizing that your past, it doesn't equal what you got going on and, for now and for the future. Your past was your past. So we want to leave our past in the past, right? And then we want to go ahead on and do what we need to do, right now to prepare for the future. Right. And then sometimes, like I said, you have yo-yo, you have diets like, or you may yo-yo diet, I'll say. Um, and the yo-yo diet, of course, we all kind of know a little bit about that. Even if we didn't do it, we knew somebody else that was yo-yo dieting. Every time you turn around, you're on a diet, you're off the diet. You're on a diet, you're gonna start a diet, the new diet on Monday, and then you fail by Tuesday, and then you're back on another diet next Monday. Yo-yo dieting, right? You want to get rid of all the shame, and because of course we all fall down, right? We all fall down, and it's okay. But what we want to do is, even if we fall, we want to make sure we're getting back up right away, trying to figure out what made us fall, what made us fail in this, in the where we were at. And so therefore, don't let shame stop you from going forward. Don't let inconsistency stop you from going forward. So if you were inconsistent before, okay, I gotta work on my being consistent, by building certain habits so that we can continue to move forward this time instead of going backwards. And then also just medical barriers. Sometimes medical barriers play a role of why we couldn't do what we were supposed to do. For me, for instance, with my weight loss journey, I had to put that on hold because the most important thing for me, and that's because of my mindset shift, was to make sure my A1C was okay. I went from the high A1C on the start of my journey to a now, and having high glucose levels to low glucose levels at times, a little bit more times than it should have been. With that being said, I had to say, okay, you know what? Let me tweak some things. Let me figure out some things so that I can do better when it comes to, making sure my glucose stays within the normal range and not go under, and have hypoglycemia. So I had to do that. But, with that being said, it derailed me a little bit with my weight loss, but I was okay with that because of my mindset shift, knowing that better health is more important than losing weight, right? And then restraint, also just like I said, learning the lessons, like trying to figure it out so that you can minimize any future failures will help you as well. That will help you as well. And I'm looking in the chat just to see if anybody else knew that came in. Hi Z, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Yes, we get up, right. We fall down, but we get up. Yes, Nicole. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And that's it, trying to make sure that you realize you can get up. You don't have to sit and lie and wallow in, self-pity or shame and things of that nature. How you doing, Patrice Denise? How are you doing? Thank you for coming in tonight. Hope you're doing well. And if you're celebrating anything, let us know, whether it's scaled or non-scaled victories. So yeah, so just you don't want to wallow in, self-pity, self-doubt, shame, you want to be free of those things this particular time. And you want to make sure that you are, doing everything in your power to make sure that you're doing a great job this time. Realizing that, like I said, your past is your past. You do not have to, you don't have to stay in your past. You want to move and progress forward, right? And realizing, again, it's about progress and not perfection, y'all. It's about progress and not perfection. We say that all the time, but we really have to soak that into our brains, into our minds, to let us know we don't have to, we don't have, we're not, first of all, we're not comparing comparing each other. Comparing, I should not compare my journey with someone else's journey because, we're two totally different individuals. Our DNA is not the same. So we want to make sure our environment may not be the same, so we want to make sure that we're not comparing ourselves to somebody else, and so therefore, with that being said, it's just about you. How can I be better for me, compared to what I did before? That's all it's about, you know. And then that way you can cheer each other on without any, you know, jealousy or anything like that, or you know, you beating yourself down because you know you may not have gotten to the weight, you know, you may not have lost as much weight as the next person, or you know, your A1C didn't go down as fast as the next person, you know, your cholesterol went up and other people's went down. You know, you don't want, you know, even though you want to be able to celebrate those people with love, with respect, you know, with joy, and you know, and just continue to encourage them, but you also want to encourage yourself as well, so that you know that, hey, even though my A1C done dropped a little bit, you know, I'm sorry, my glucose has dropped some and sometimes go under 70. I can do this. You know, I can do this. And the way, you know, I can tweak some things to make it better, you know, and focus on those things versus focusing on, you know, somebody else's journey and how they're going. And like I said, all that has something to do with, you know, shifting your mind to be conducive with what you know your goals are and how can you get to those goals. Sometimes you have to journal things out, you know, as well. And we learn as we go. So that's another reason why you can't focus on perfection, because we learn as we go, you know, and we tweak as we need to, right? Depending on if we have any failures or things like that, we can tweak as we need to. And don't let fear stop you either. Fear can be a very damaging thing for people. Having fear of moving forward, you know, and or fear of, oh, this is not going to work for me. I don't know how this is going to work, you know, whatever, whatever. And then, you know, you're all up in your mind about it, and it's, you know, it's making it worse for you versus better. So always try to make sure that you keep your mind on positive things. And when negative things come, you know, to you, to your mind, then you can always, you know, find positive affirmations to debunk those negative things that's coming along. Because the devil wants you to think of those things, those negative things. He puts those things in your mind. And you don't, you know, you don't have to listen at that. You know, you need to make sure that you are listening at, you know, what God has said for you, as what God has, you know, spoke over your life, you know, by listening at the, you know, looking at the word and learning your word, your Bible. All right. So, like I said, now this tool that we're using, which is a GLP-1 medication, you know, that we're using, you have to remember that it's not a quick fix. So like I was saying before, you don't want to, you know, look at this as another fad diet, you know, and that's what some people are doing. I notice that, you know, instead of making sure you're doing all the things like, you know, better nutrition, you know, exercising, and things of that nature, they're just like, okay, I'm just going to take the medication and that's it, you know. Well, when you do it like that, you're sure to get, you know, you're not going to get as good of results, right? You're not as good, you know, you may get some good results, but after a while, it's going to taper off. And then you're going to be like, okay, now what? So at some point, you're going to realize, right, that, wait a minute, I'm going to do something more, especially if you have a lot of pounds, you know, like a lot of weight to lose. You're going to have to realize, hey, wait a minute, I'm going to do more than just, you know, do this injection every week, you know? So, you know, you want to make sure you realize it's not a quick fix. So that's why another reason why your mindset has to be, okay, I got to do this. I'm doing this for, you know, the long haul. I'm in it for the long haul. I'm in it to win it. And so therefore, you know, I can move forward. And I'm content whether the scale is moving or the scale is not, because I have non-scale vectors that I can use, you know, that can help me, keep me cheered up, keep me motivated, and the tools that I have in place to keep me disciplined to get the job done at some point. Because one thing I've stated before, it don't matter, you know, if you have 50 pounds to lose, and it may take 1 year, it may take 3 months, it may take 2 years, but once you get to that goal, all you can do is celebrate. You're just celebrating, but go ahead and start celebrating now. You don't have to wait until you meet that goal to celebrate. You can start celebrating, you know, where you're at right now, and that lets you know again that that's a better mindset. That is a mindset shift for you, because before you just gave up, you know. You gave up on it. So yeah, that's, so I want to encourage you that. Um, and just remember that you want sustainable lifestyles as well. Something that's sustainable. Don't try to do so much out the gate. Some people can do that. Some people not so much. A lot of people not so much. So you want to make sure that you're doing sustainable things that can help you, keep going. Um, so and those things create opportunities for you to meet your goals. All right, y'all. Everybody's saying hi. I'm just back in the chat looking to see what getting through squats. Great, great, great. All right, so Felicia says, I'm learning ways to nurture my body with food on Zepbound instead of starving myself like I did on every diet I've been on before. Yes, yes. And that's awesome, Felicia. That's a non-scale victory in itself, honey. Yes, yes. That is great. That is great. So you're doing the natural things, right? By eating, and being, nourishing your body properly. But not only that, you also use this tool, Zepbound, to help you as well. So you're doing all the things you need to do. And you tweak, more than likely you tweak as you go. If you find out this is not working so well, okay, let me do this. So you are right on track, Miss Felicia, which is why you lost 100 pounds. All right. So Bellflower says, I love that for you, Felicia Marie B. All right. So Patrice says, yes, Felicia, love that. Yes. And I can say a lot of people in this chat, I know, for a fact, because you all shared things that we are really on target. We may not be where we want to be, but we are doing a very, very good job. All right. So Amia says, yes, that's so true. It's not going to keep going without tweaks. Yes. 147 pounds down in a journey and still going. You go, Miss Mia. Yes, yes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So that's kind of like a non-scale and a scale victory, right? As well, because 147 pounds down, what, in a year? Or maybe a little bit less than a year? For you, that is awesome, awesome. But just knowing that you have to tweak things, so which means, like I said, you're not perfect. You're not coming out the gate with all the answers, but you are realizing that, as you keep pushing forward, you need to tweak things, and then you can, you're a testament that you can lose the weight. 147 pounds is awesome. Linda says, Felicia Marie B, that sets you up for success. Yes, yes, Ms. Linda. More so a new lifestyle. Right, 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 Bellflower. And it's sustainable. That's the great thing I think about, having these tools in our tool box, using GLP-1s, because it makes the things that we do naturally more sustainable. More sustainable. But we, like I said, we can't just rely on the medication. We have to do all the things necessary to make sure that that scale is moving as what the way, and which way in the way you want it to move, as well as your blood work is looking great. Trying to get your blood work better, in while everything, becoming the normal range versus the lows and the highs of it all. Celebrating the small wins, every win. Yes, Patrice. Yes, yes. So Felicia says, I agree with you, Mia. Yes. Mia, are you in maintenance or still losing? She's still losing. Mia says, it takes a lot more effort, but still losing. Not as quick as or easy, but still going down. Awesome, awesome. And that's, like you said, why you have to tweak things. And so instead of, if if the scale is not going down like you want it to, you don't jump off, of the cliff, because, you realize that it takes things. You have to tweak some things so that you can do better, right? And, get the ball back rolling. All right. So yes, September 7th, Mia says was her made her year. Okay, I thought so. I thought it was, I didn't know exactly what date, but I knew it was you know, I thought it was, in recently. All right. I couldn't move at 426.6 pounds like I can move at 279 pounds. Yes, yes. That is awesome. That is awesome, honey. What is it? Almost half your you've lost almost half your body weight? We're getting close. I want to lose 250 pounds total. Okay. So you're getting there. You are getting there. Great, great, great stuff. All right. So Bellflower says, at Mia, that is definitely a win. Congratulations on all your success, sweetheart. All right. So Mia says, thank you. But to me, it's all of our win because I could not do it without you guys right here, my GLP-1 family. Yes, yes, that is so true. Community is so important, y'all. So important. And just like I said, to cheer each other on. Sometimes we cry, when we are crying, when others are crying, tears of joy, tears of sadness, or whatever. But we're trying to, we're here to make sure that we get through, and onto the other side, to make sure that we, get into our, meet our goals that we have set. And so we cheer each other on, we encourage each other. Like I said, we cry with one another, and celebrate one another. But we get through it together. She is Tamika giving hearts. Yes, yes. All right. So I'm going to ask you all for a favor. If you all can put in the $sign to let the people that are in the chat or even on the replay know that you are a content creator, go ahead and put that $sign, some kind of money sign in the chat so they can, go check out your channel too, and decide whether they want to follow you on your journey as well. All right. So Beautiful says, love, love, love this community so much. Yes, I do as well. I do as well. I told the story before as when I went to the hospital with my A1C being so high, the doctor told me to go to the emergency room. So they put me in the hospital. And when I was leaving, right before I left the hospital, the discharge nurse was letting me know, hey, make sure you find your community, because even though we're here to help you, we don't see you that often. We only see you so many like months or weeks or whatever, and or maybe sometimes a year. But if you can find a community, that you can relate to and resonate with, then that is going to be a game changer. And so therefore I went to YouTube, and as I was navigating through different people, different channels, that's when I found my community, which is you. All right, so Miss Linda from Linda's Journey, she's a content creator. The Patrice Denise, she's a content creator. Felicia Marie B. Matter of fact, let me go back a little bit. Let me see. Well, yeah, I'll wait. I'll wait and do that. I had something in mind, but I'll wait for it. All right. So Felicia Marie B is a content creator. All right. She is Tamika, content creator. And the people that I've called, matter of fact, everybody in this chat that are content creators, they are they provide very, very good content, y'all. Very, very good content. Even though we're all talking about GLP-1s, we still, sharing our own journey, and the way we share it is quite different. But, it's great information to hear, and some things you may be able to find that will help you on your journey. So yeah, check them out. Check them out. Real Journey Talk with V, content creator. Traces of Twan's Life, content creator. Becky Weight Loss Journey, content creator. How are you doing, Becky? Hope you're doing well. All right. Beautiful Uncolored, a content creator. Level up, stress down. Content creator. I love that. Level up, stress down, honey. Yes. That's what we need, honey. One part of another part of, what we need also within this journey. We talk about nutrition, we talk about, getting our hydration in, but we also want to make sure we're getting that, managing that stress, right? So that level up, stress down. And sometimes you got to level up. That's when you start tweaking that stuff, you're leveling up, right? You're leveling up. So I like your the name of your channel, Level Up, Stress Down. All right, Michelle's Mirror, another content creator. All right. So Shiz Tamika says hi to Twan. So yes, y'all, go ahead and check them out. If you are not following these lovely people, and you either here in the chat or you're not in the chat and you're in the bushes, go ahead and check them out. I'm sure you'll find that they're a treat. Definitely so, because I have. All right. Okay, so also, benefits about, when it comes down to, well, let me back up. The tools that we have, I just mentioned about tools, having different tools and resources, to help you also after that mindset shift, or while that mindset is shifting, again, nutrition, you got movement, which is exercise, hydration, sleep, and recovery is very important. Like I said, less stress in your life. You want to try to, lessen the stress in your life. Now, we're all going to have some stressors, and some stressors are okay, but you want to be able to manage your stress levels, right? And if it's too stressful, guess what? You need to find ways to even tweak that so it won't be so stressed, so you won't be stressed out, because stress, it can, cause you to gain weight or stall out in weight, so you want to make sure you try to lessen your stress as well. That's important as well. We don't talk about it that often, but that is so important to do as well, as much as you can. Of course, you can always pray, meditate, you know, listen to some music, read a book or listen to a book. Those type things can help you stress. Find somebody else to kind of help, lighten your load, for you. This community can cause you to have less stress, because as we talk to one another, especially as we get on these lives, because this is like front and center, real time. But even like in the videos, talking, talking amongst each other in the chat, in the comments, you know, we can, like I said, encourage each other and, root for each other, cheer each other on, so that we can, and also just, sharing our experiences can may be able to help release some of that stress that you may be having, especially if you're talking about the stress of, being healthier. You also have, your faith, right? Believing in God, trusting in God, going to maybe church, or, getting with some people that, are like-minded when it comes to your faith and things of that nature. All of that, having an accountability partner, all of that helps, so community and support is what I'm talking about. And then we have, benefits from this thing, this GLP-1 and the better health journey. And their proven results, like I, stated earlier today, we have short-term benefits as well as long-term benefits. So some of the short-term benefits that we often have is that we can, improve our blood sugars. Now, yes, we had kind of talked about in the chat about having A1C, high A1Cs. So, and, we've, since on our journey, we were able to lower those A1Cs, some back in the normal range, some, they're now pre-diabetic versus being, diabetic, in that range. And so some people, they have high blood pressure. That's in the chat. They had high blood pressure, and now their pressures are normal. So those are short-term benefits that you can enjoy by being on this, this better health journey. Also, we get appetite control, better appetite control from this GLP-1. Some people, have, had issues in the past with having bigger appetites. And so, with this GLP-1 medication, it helps us control the appetite more, right? And so therefore, will help us lose some weight, and also help those, that blood work come back a little bit better when we're losing the weight, or we're choosing better nutrition. And also, like I said, with exercise and the hydration and of it all. And also it helps reduce the cravings. Those cravings that we once had is no longer as loud in our heads, right? I remember a little bit earlier in the chat, Michelle's Mira said, she had went to the state fair yesterday, and the things that she may have normally, would have chosen to eat at the fair, she, it was like my palate does not even like it anymore, and that's a non-scale victory for her. That's a non-scale victory. Especially if it's something that she really don't need anyway, or it's not going to serve her well or best, so that's good. She now knows that, the journey that she's on now is really helping her. So, and as many of us in the chat, not just her, but I just, made her as an example because she did mention that in the chat earlier on. Also, we have long-term benefits too to this thing. We talking weight loss, of course. Look at Mia, 147 pounds is awesome. Miss Felicia Marie B at 100 pounds down. Miss Twine over 100 pounds down. It's a lot of us have lost a lot of weight. I think what Twine is at 130 some odd pounds. So yes, weight loss is definitely a great thing, especially if you have the disease of obesity. Not only that, it improves your heart health. So yes, while the blood pressure and the blood sugar is going down, some for those who have high blood sugars and pressures, it also helps with that heart health, right? When your pressure is under control, better under control, and your sugar is better under control, that means your heart health is improving, right? Same thing with kidney protection. Being on this GLP-1 medication, they found out that it helps protect your kidneys as well. So the levels, that you may have once had when you were, not on the medication in the past, now you may notice that when you get your blood work done, that those kidneys are being protected by using this GLP-1 medication, by also doing all the other things such as better nutrition, your exercise, your hydration, your sleep and recovery, and your and just the support of the community, right? And then also you have mental clarity. This medication is proven to have, to provide mental clarity as well. Sometimes you feel scatterbrained, sometimes a brain fog and things of that nature at one point in life, and there are people that are reporting that they have better mental clarity now. So those are proven results that has come out and has been shown to us. Also, just the emotional part of it, and your lifestyle wins. You're talking confidence, more confident, in yourself because you are doing the things. It makes you feel good, and makes you continue to want to move forward. Also, it gives you more energy. I remember just having more energy as I started walking. I started, eating a low carb, high fiber, high protein diet. It gave me more energy to be able to walk. Mia talked about it a little bit more as well on this chat, saying that, she experienced more energy herself, because of her losing the weight and doing the things that she needed to do by tweaking, as she learned and go. Also freedom from food obsession. A lot of us can say now, hey, or most of us, and maybe all of us say, hey, I'm not obsessed with food anymore. It was at a time I was so obsessed with food. I want to continue to eat it all the time. I kept thinking about it all day long. I could eat something, and as I'm eating, I'm still thinking about the next meal, or right after I ate, when you normally would be full, I'm thinking about what can I eat next. So this medication has been proven to allow people freedom from the obsession of food, y'all. I mean, just think about, these things that I'm talking about tonight. I mean, it is a blessing from God that we have this tool that can help us, with the things that we struggled with back in the day, right? And then why these results are sustainable. they are sustainable, because we're learning, little bit by little bit on what we can do to improve our health. And because we have these things that I mentioned earlier, it is allowing us to have better lifestyle changes. It's also helping us to, because especially with this community support, it's helping us think about what else can I do, to tweak, what I'm doing right now so that my future can look brighter. That's awesome. So, yeah, let me go back in the chat and talk a little bit. See what you're talking about. All right. So, Traveling T says, Patrice Denise was the first content creator I started watching in 2023. Thanks, Patrice. Oh, kudos, Patrice. You have been on this channel, on your channel, rather. You know, this one person here is, letting you know, giving you your flowers, letting you know that I'm assuming, I'm saying she, I don't know if it's a she or he, but that they are so excited that they met you when it came to, your channel, and being able to get encouragement from your channel. So kudos to you, Patrice. Awesome, awesome. All right, so level up, stress down. She put her hearts in there. She's loving it. All right. Patrice says, I truly am grateful and appreciate your support, Traveling T. Much continued success on your journey. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, yes. And we agree with Patrice, Denise. All right. Hi, Jane. How are you doing? All right. So Mill says, I want to say I'm praying for all you ladies in your squat challenges. I am so very proud of you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I did myself accept the challenge, and I've put out my videos for day 1 and day 2. Day 1 is a short, day 2 is a long form video. And I have not put out day 3 yet because we're on day 3. It's a 10-day challenge for those who do not know. We're some people in our GLP-1 community. We're doing a 10-day challenge. Miss Toy the Review, which is another content creator on the YouTube platform, she decided to start a challenge. And it's a 10-day challenge. You do 50 squats a day for 10 days. And so several of us have jumped on the bandwagon. We're cheering each other on. We're not competing against each other, but we're doing what we can to help us, with our exercise regimen, right? Because of course, movement is so important. And also the squats will help us, build muscle and so many other things. It helps us with when it comes to squats. So, it helps combat with muscle loss, it helps boost metabolism. It also helps with, strengthening your core, especially if you're engaging your core, which you should be when it comes down to squat. And you want to, any exercise, you want to engage your core so that it can help, build your core up as well. And then, it just helps strengthen bones as well. So those are some of the things that it does help with the squats. So I came from out of town and I heard, about the challenge and I jumped right in. And thank you, Mia, for your prayers. All right, Bellflower says, yes, Patrice. She says, at Patrice, you were a first for many. Yes, that's so true. That's so true. She was I think she was the first person I saw on Mounjaro when I came in to the YouTube platform to look at people that are on GLP-1s that are on Mounjaro. She was that one, that girl. She was that girl. All right. So Real Journey Talk with V says, at meal, thanks for prayers, except my thighs are so sore. Yes. Yes, yes. I understand where you're coming from, especially if you're not used to doing squats. It will be sore. Or if you're leveling up, like I know she is, Tamika, she's on the challenge and she has her, she was using her resistant band, when she was doing her squats, using her weights. Tracy Twan's life was using her weights. Who else? let me see who. I don't want to like say everybody. I can't remember everybody what everybody was doing, but I know Jane, she was lifting up, because she has chickens, and she had bird feed, lifting up, so many pounds of bird feed, which is gi- gigantic, or chicken feed, gigantic bags. Um, and with her squats. Who else? Level up, stress down. She's been doing good. Using, I think she used the resistant band herself. Yeah. So for those who, and Twan, I saw her doing her squats with her weights as well. So yeah, I think everybody's enjoying it. Even though, yes, like you said, it does cause soreness, but it also helps. Like I said, with all those things that I mentioned earlier. Let me go back out and lost my little place in the chat. Hold on. Mm, there you go. Not too far. All right. So some soreness is really good, y'all. Some soreness is good. And the more you do it, the better, the soreness will go away. It may take like 4 or 5 days sometimes, but that soreness will go away. And I did see somebody comment about, if you have soreness, what you can use. Just a moment. All right. So Mill says, I know those squats are no joke. Yes. And even with Miss Toy, she was saying, some people, they may have, issues where they may not be able to squat all the way down. Like some people can squat all like real low. Some people, you do what you can do. Don't hurt yourself trying to do what somebody else is doing. That's called comparing again. We want to do what we can do, because whatever we can and push ourselves, to make sure that we're doing good, right? We want to feel it, right? We want to feel some burn, because sunburn lets us know that we're doing what we need to do, right? And we're hitting the muscles that we need to hit to make sure that we are able to build upon that muscle or maintain that muscle at least. And so it's good to feel some pain. No pain, no gain. No pain, no gain. All right. But make sure it's not where you're hurting. Okay. All right. So Mia says magnesium oil can help muscles too. Thank you. Thank you, Mia, for that information. All right. Okay, so Jane says, Mia, I have to come up with more squat randomness because 10 days is a long time. Just think 75 days and I 75 soft. See, that's what Tamika like, okay, I can't wait to get over this. That's a lot of days. 10 days for me, I'm like, oh yeah, I can jump on that. I can jump on that because that's not that, for me, that's not that bad. I can just, that's sustainable for me. 75, that's a whole lot more. That's a lot. But yes, that is a long time for some, Jane. Especially like I said, if you're not used to doing squats. Beautiful Color said I had to use a foam roller today because my thighs were tight. So that is another thing that you can use. That's right. She's on the challenge as well. Beautiful Color, and she's doing her thing over there as well. I saw Patrice Denise because I'm trying to think as I go. When you're in a hot seat, sometimes you might not remember everybody. So if I don't call your name out specifically, it's not because I'm trying to miss you or whatever, or not rep you, but it's just as it comes, I'm thinking about it. So I remember Patrice Denise, she was at the gym doing her squats. And what is that thing called, that barbell? She was using her barbell. I saw that as well. But yes, you're doing well, beautiful too. And that's another thing you can use. So that magnesium oil as well as that foam roller, if you have one, those are two great things to use. Magnesium supplements, electrolytes helps as well with it, with soreness. Hey, you can get good old Epsom salt in a bath, in a bubble bath of water. Then you can get that self-care as well as that relaxation, which is a less stress, as well as helping those muscles, kind of, chill out a little bit. All right. So Mia says, thank you to all the content creators and share their lives. I'm very thankful for all. Thank you. Thank you. Y'all. Thank you, Mia. And we are thankful for you as the supporter and all the supporters in the chat or in the bushes. All right. So Bellflower says the community has been helpful for me in sharing information with my external community, which is not into YouTube. Awesome, awesome, Bellflower. So not only are you, enjoying being in the community and and learning things as you go and being able to share some of your journey, to be an encouragement to somebody else within the journey or within YouTube in our community, but you're also sharing things outside of the community, to help them those who are not on YouTube. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Great stuff. Kudos to you, Bellflower. All right. So JC Calamity Jane says at Bellflower, I share out channels. We people ask me about my journey. When people ask me about my journey, sometimes they need to hear from people other than someone they know. So true, Jane. So true. I think about, just like our kids or our husband, our spouses, I should say, because it could be man or woman, in the chat or in the bushes, um, you know, significant others. Sometimes you're like, I done told, like you'll tell that loved one over and over something. And then they go outside and they talk to one of their friends or somebody else that may, that they, encounter, maybe a coworker or something. And they say the same thing you said. And they like, oh, let me tell you this, blah, 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 blah. So and so said this. And I'm like, and you're like, I said that already like a million times. But maybe what it is like, Jane, you may have planted a seed, but somebody else may have to water it. That's how I look at that. You may have planted a seed, and then somebody else's job or responsibility or whatever to water that seed. So yes, I do understand where you're coming from. But it is great that we are not only sharing it within our community on YouTube, but we're also sharing it outside, because, the more people understand what's going on when it comes to our journey and how the medication is helping us, the better it is. So the more educated you are on it, the knowledge is power, right? So the more educated we are on it, and the more we can help others learn about it, it may help them and have them decide, hey, I may want to try GLP-1 medication too, or it may help the naysayers, because there are some people that's like very skeptical. Even my doctor was like, I was kind of skeptical at first, but seeing your journey, it's been doing really well for you, so, sometimes we can make them a believer by just, by them just sometimes not even saying anything, but just, them looking at us, All right. So Twan says, hi to everyone entered. I was soaking and didn't want to keep grabbing my phone. We got you. We got you. Understandable. Hope you had a great soak. Hope um, and thank you for coming back into the chats. All right. So, Mia says, you're welcome. You're welcome, Mika. Tamika. All right. I was wondering, Twan. Tamika says, all right, I need the soap too. Right. All right. Real Journey Talk with V says, Twan, I need the soap too. All right. Now let me see. Okay, so she says, now I do it. Twan says, now I do it to relax those quads. Right. Exactly. Because you already soak anyway every now and again in the tub, but what you shared with us. But yeah, you said now those quads, it helps them relax. Right. So I was saying, and I'm not sure if you heard me. I was talking about, just soaking in Epsom salt, some bubble bath, that helps too, with relaxing those muscles that we're using when it comes to exercise and those squats. Samika says, my glutes are sore, legs feel good. I can't stand sore legs. Okay. So, yep, if you decide to soak, honey, get you some Epsom salt, A little bit of you can use a little bit of green alcohol. That may help you too. All right. So me too, Tamika, Felicia says. She don't like those legs sore, getting sore. I know when I use one of the things I use in the gym, I can't remember the name of it, but it's the one that where your leg you can go in and out with your legs, or you can go out and in with your legs. Those things, when I do those, oh my gosh, my legs be sore for days. That's even including me soaking in that tub. It's days. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I understand where you're coming from with that, Tamika, as well. All right. So Bellflower says, to Jane, yes, I will tell the story or the thing and share the video if it's short. Okay, cool. Their attention spans aren't long. My my external group is about 8 deep. The group chat is crazy. Okay. But that's awesome though. You're sharing your you know, sharing videos and just, your wisdom on, what can help better improve their lives. Awesome, awesome. You have testimonies, right? All right. So Linda says those squats are serious, even with 5-pound weights. Right. Ms. Linda also is doing the challenge, the squat challenge as well. I saw her with her little, weights. All right. So V says, and we're only on day 3. Right. I'm like, Lord. Shaking my head. So I'm assuming that about maybe day 4 that it won't hurt as much. You won't feel the burn as much unless you level up a little bit. If you level up a little bit, you're gonna still feel that burn, y'all. But you're gonna have great results. Though I speak that out into the atmosphere. You will all have great results from it. Yep, yep, yep. All right. So Bellflower says that Twan, I was in recovery and getting these muscles soothed. Okay. Yes. Yes, yes. Twan says. All right. So Jane says, and if you're not able to do squats, you can sit and do knee lifts. Place weights. And she's like, what you can do. Place the weights, the dumbbells, cans of beans, water bottles, things of that nature, and just do knee lifts. Just knee lifts. So that's another way of getting, the results that you would like when it comes to squatting if you cannot squat. I know for me, when it comes to squatting, which I shared in my video, I think the second video, my second day, I'm sorry, I have had a knee injury before, and I tore my patella, and with that being, with even though I had a patella tear repair done, had surgery, I still, suffer sometimes with inflammation in the knee, right? That in that knee. And then also in the other knee, because I had to compensate for so many weeks not being able to walk on the that leg that I had repaired. It kind of broke down that other leg, right? That other knee. And so I have pain a lot of times in that knee, but the one that I had repaired, I get a lot of, sometimes I get inflammation. So for me, when I would have probably normally be able to squat a little bit further down, if my knee starts swelling, of course I can't squat down as far as I would like to, but that's okay. Because even squatting to where I squat, I'm still getting, I'm getting the benefits from it. All right. So Mia says 75 days, you are a goddess. All right. That 75-day challenge ain't no joke. Look, like I said, for me, Patrice Denise is also on a 75-day softest medium, she called it. Softest medium-ish, she calls it, right? So it's a little bit of both, of the soft and the medium. But yeah, that's 75 days. That ain't no joke, y'all. That's it ain't for the faint. All right. So Mill says that's a great idea, JC. Yes, thank you, JC, for that. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you. Tamika and Denise, which is for the 75. They're the goats for their 75-day challenge. Okay. Yep. Tamika and Patrice Denise. All right. So Michelle says all the people in the challenge did amazing. Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Love all the videos. Thank you, Michelle. All right. Bear Fowl says facts, Jane. All right. So Michelle, I read that. All right. So Mia says sometimes we accept certain things from others over relatives. I'm just glad they listen to someone so they can get better. Correct. 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 Exactly. All right. So Beautiful says, yes, Mia, well said. And like I said, I learned that. Hi, G's, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well tonight. But I learned, don't get offended by, people, when you try to tell people something and they, that may be best for them, or what you think is best, I should say. And they don't do it. But then when they find somebody else, they talk to someone else and they say the same exact thing, don't get offended by them not hearing you, but hearing somebody else. Because the main thing is that they heard. They finally heard. It resonated in their hearts, their minds and their hearts, and they were able to do what needed to be done. So, yes. So people are saying, hey to G's. All right. Using my leg compression, Belfast says, as we speak. Okay. I do it nightly anyway for a massage and circulation. So after working out, it feels even better. That's awesome. And thank you, Bellflower, for sharing that. So leg compressions help as well with that soreness or trying to alleviate some of the soreness. Because like I said, sometimes you're going to feel it anyway. And some soreness is okay to feel. But, if it's causing you pain, then you might have to back off of it a little bit and tweak something, go a little bit less hard. Because some people feel like if I don't go like hard, like deep into it, then I'm not getting results. That's not always true. That's not always true. Especially if you're hurting yourself, you don't want to hurt yourself. You want some soreness. You should, invite a little bit of soreness in, because at least it'll let you know, hey, it's cueing you that, hey, it's working. You're working these muscles. But if you're hurting yourself, then yeah, you need to back off of that a little bit. All right. So Mia says, are those compression leg things like Twan show on her channel? Those look really soothing. So Twan says, I need to pull out my leg compression machine. Yes, yes. So Bellflower, is your leg compression is, similar to what Twan has? Mia is asking. So for you all in the chat, let us know, let us know if you, at one point felt, derail your diet or regimen or whatever in the past, and you came in to the GLP-1 community, or taking the GLP-1 medications, and you were kind of scared at first yourself that you may treat this as a fad diet too, or that this may not work, as well. Can you want to share that in the chat? Let us know. Or, did you come in out the gate saying, hey, I think this is it, from what I've heard from people's testimonies, and what I've, read when it came to, what scientists said about the medication and everything, I think this is the one. This is the one that's going to help me to get to my goals successfully, and it will be sustainable. Let me know in the chat if you would like to. And did you gain short-term benefits like really quick? And have they become, like, has your short-term benefits created long-term and lifestyle benefits? Let me know in the chat. Hope you're doing well, G's. My hubby rub also, Twan says. Okay. My hubby rubs so. All right. So Mia says, They are wraps that massage compression legs and feet. Look like boots, kind of. Bellflower says at Mia, but I am sure they are similar. They fit your legs. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back one more. Sorry, Bellflower. She said at Mia, I don't recall seeing it on Twan's channel. Okay. And so then Twan says, my hubby rubs so. Okay. Okay. My hubby rub Mujo on my quads for me. Okay, cool. This challenge isn't look, ain't no joke. How about that? This challenge ain't no joke. For real, for real. Look, that's why I said at least it's just 10 days. And then you're leveling up with the weights and everything. Yeah. Yeah. I can understand that. This time, look, when I did the hula hoop challenge, I was doing all that extra stuff, honey. This time I'm like, yeah, let me just do these squats and go on about my business. Let somebody else have the do the level up. I may do a little bit. We'll see. But my knee, like I said, the first day and the second day, my knee was swelling. So I'm like, yeah, let me just do what I can. Make sure I get to that 50 and keep it moving. All right. So let me go back to because I have all over the chat. All right. So Bellflower says, I'm sure. She says her compressions fit her legs, thighs, arms, and they squeeze you good. Okay, good. Cool. All right. So have you all? Let me see. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Bellflower says that Mia, I don't have the ones with the feet since I have a separate foot massager. Okay, cool. All right. So Jane says I was concerned due to type 1 diabetes. I was worried about lows. Also worried whether I would exercise or not. I woke up the next day and I had all the energy in the world. Haven't regretted it yet. Awesome, Jane. That's non-scale victories right there. Yes. And I know with type 1 diabetes, they do not approve it for you to take that mounjaro or Ozempic. But you were able to get on Zepbound, for the weight loss medication of Zepbound, and it has been doing wonders for you. And that is awesome. I'm happy for you, proud of you. Keep going with your journey. And Miss JC Calamity Jane, she's I think the newest in our YouTube streets as content creator. Go check her channel out. Hi, L. Lewis. How are you doing? So you made it back home safely. Didn't you go out of town? Did you go out of town? Okay, so Beautiful says, oh my God, yes, KMJ. I was super skeptical that it would work, but had the mindset of why not try it and see. It definitely, it's definitely life changing and helped, but I have lost slower than expected, and that's okay. There you go. So that mindset shift, knowing that even though I may lose a little bit slower than I would like to, I'm still losing, right? But not only that, it's giving me non-scale victories. And that's why it's so important to make sure that we know our non-scale victories. We have to, look for those things as well, right? And count our blessings. So she said she was skeptical too, super skeptical about it, but saying, why not give it a try? Let's try and see, right? And it's doing wonders for her. And that's awesome. I'm sure you have probably more energy, you may be sleeping better, you may be able to move better when it comes to, because I know you lifting weights and things over there on that channel, maybe you'll be able to walk longer than what you used to be able to do. So those things like that, non-scale victories, right? Being able to get in smaller clothing, because maybe even though your weight may not be going down, as much as you want it to, but your inches, you're doing well when it comes to inches, you know. So those are non-scale victories, and that's why it's so important to make sure we keep a tally of those things, especially when the weight is not coming down. All right. So Jane says, Twine, you brought out the vibration machine. Your legs are probably wonder why you are mad at them. Your legs are probably wondering why you are mad at them. Yes, the vibration plate helps to relax leg muscles. Yes, yes. All right, so Bellflower said, I was telling my sister about the vibration plate, and she actually bought one. She's been enjoying it. Bellflower says, Twan, yes, I get on it for about 10 to 15 minutes after I work out. Awesome, awesome. And it helps, with that lymphatic drainage that we all need to, that, we may be able to use if you want to check into a vibration plate. All right, so Jane says, Twan, that is good to know. I don't think I knew about the plate. Twan, you have a plate on your channel? Or like a code or whatever on your channel? Or anybody else in the chat? When it comes to, having a vibration plate, getting one of those just in case somebody in here wants to try, purchase one. All right, so Mia says, I'm so happy, JC, that you are seeing great things from this medication. You, Joe, and Hajarine did a great live. Congratulations. Yes, yes, yes. I do agree with you, Mia. They did a absolutely fabulous job yesterday on their live. They did a collaboration, and it was awesome. It was awesome. I loved every bit of it. You can go check out any one of those channels and catch the replay. All right, so Jane, you want to put in the chat their channels that they can look at? I know JC _ Calamity Jane is one of them, but you can put the other two if you want to as well. So she says, thank you, Mia. Joe and Hajarine are planning to have more people on to celebrate and learn. Very exciting. Yes, yes, yes. I was excited when I made sure that notification bell was on for all three of y'all. And, I jumped in. I tried to make sure I kind of went to, give all three of you some love because I follow all three of you. But yeah, that was great live. All right. L. Lewis says, yes, out of the country to Thailand, returned home yesterday. Okay, yes, that's what I thought. All right, cool. Did you have a good time in Thailand? Okay, yeah. Okay, good. You was able to get back in time for the live. Awesome. Great stuff. All right, so was anybody else skeptical of the medication when they started and quickly changed their mind on, okay, yeah, this thing, it really does work? That's in the chat. Is there anybody else that has that same, had that same thoughts besides Jane? If you want to let us know. Anybody else? Okay, so okay, you were working. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so Lewis says she was working. Bellflower says, yes, I held it for a couple of months before starting. Now, I've heard other people say that as well. Like they were skeptical. They were like, okay, I had it, but I was like, nah, I'm going to wait. I should try it, but I'm scared. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be just like another, not going to really do nothing for me or whatever. what it's going to do, is how it's going to feel if I inject. Some people are scared of, just injecting themselves altogether, you know, and they may have waited because of that. I mean, so many different things people have shared, within our community. But hey, I know you glad you did though, honey. When you did it, I know you were happily glad you did now. All right, so Bellflower says had to research to see what it would do. Gotcha. Yep. Understandable. Hey, like I said, knowledge is power, you know, and then just being able to read, and that's also so important that you said that researching things on your own is very important. So even though we, talk about these things, on our lives or in our videos and things, or, within the chat as supporters, you always want to make sure you're researching for your own self before you just do something somebody, suggested, or, or what you heard from somebody else's channel. You want to make sure you're researching for yourself. You also want to make sure that you're talking to your doctors and your dietitian, your healthcare team about, the things that you're thinking about doing, because they need to look at your markers, your blood work and things of that nature, see what kind of medications you're on, and see if, the things that you may think may be good to try, that it's okay for you to do. Because sometimes it can counteract with something else that, you're already on, and then it gives you adverse effect, which is not good, right? You don't want to hurt yourself more, or cause any more, delay in you having a better health. So make sure that you are talking to your doctors, even if you get good advice from us. That's important. All right. So anything else anybody else want to talk about? I'm done with what I was going to say tonight. Let me know before we go. Let me know. And I'm hoping that, for everybody that's in the chat, that GLP-1s have given you a fresh start, to a better you, to have better health span, as well as lifespan. I want both of them, y'all. I want a better health span and a better lifespan. I don't want to have to choose. And also, that, you're building better habits, okay, that are sustainable for you. Those that are helping you right now, but even better in the future, because of course we should be always evolving to become better, because we're not perfect at all. So, yeah, so that's what I want, from you, or of you. I pray that happens for you. And, yeah, hopefully you're leaving all that past behind you, and then you're looking and pressing toward the mark of better health, in general. All right. So Linda says, I was ready and excited to start. I didn't know anything about GLP-1s until my doctor told me about it and explained it to me. It is definitely not a fad or quick fix. She said she was ready, honey. She was ready. I know that's right. So was I, Miss Linda. So was I. When I was in the hospital, I let my doctor know she was trying to put me on. She put me on 2 insulins, and then was trying to put me on metformin before I went home. And I was like, I don't want to be on metformin, for one. And I didn't know until after, but I knew metformin can give you GI issues, can cause GI issues for you. And I've had too many people, even close to me, that was having the issues. And not saying, don't do that for everybody now. So I'm not, knocking metformin for, those, if it works for you, it works for you. But I heard too many people in my circle, or out of circle, that was using, the, I guess, fast acting metformin, I guess you call it. And they were having GI issues, and it didn't sound like it was fun. So I was like, nope, don't want that. But then I found out later on, good thing I said that, because I did read up on it. researching myself, and I found out it's not good for some people that have kidney disease. So I'm like, I'm so happy I told her no about that medication. But I did ask her for mounjaro because I had heard about mounjaro too. And so I was like, yeah, can I get on that? Because that will help me not only lower my A1C, but it all and manage it better, but it also will help me lose weight. At least it's a tool that can help me, I should say, because everybody that has, especially have diabetes, everybody don't lose weight from it. So I was like, if they can help me lower the A1C and manage it better, as well as lose some weight, that's a win-win. So yeah, count me in. So she was like, yes, I'll give that to you. That's okay. So she wrote that prescription, and it took me 3 weeks to get it, but thank God I was able to get approved for it. All right, Dan says, and if this current class of medications are not giving you all of what you need, there are new ones in the pipeline to support your health journey. Yes, 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 they are. Yes, Darian, thank you for saying that and giving those encouragement that may be having, issues where they're not, you know, getting the most benefit that they would like out of the current medications that are out here. Something else is brewing. All right. Hello, Hajarine. How are you doing? I just got home from school. Okay. Hope school went well. Happy you were able to make it home safely. Thanks for coming in, and let us know if you have any scale victories that you want to share real quick. And if you were skeptical about getting on the medication, mounjaro or Zepbound, because you've been on both. Nicole Thomas says, Ozempic didn't help lower my glucose levels, so I wasn't sure that mounjaro would work. Okay, so you were a skeptic that because one didn't help, then the other one may not help either. All right, but she's so glad that she tried it, and she can now say that it was beneficial to her to go ahead and proceed with the mounjaro. And that's awesome. That's awesome. When I was in the hospital, I asked my doctor, I was like, which one do you think is better for me to take? The Ozempic or the mounjaro? Even though in my head, I was like, mounjaro, right? And so she was like, I think mounjaro would be better for you. And so I'm like, okay, that sounds good. Let's do that. So we did. Mounjaro has a GLP-1 as well as GIP in it. It's two agonists in it that helps, where an Ozempic only has the GLP-1. So that may be why, it helps more sometimes with the Mounjaro. I mean, with like tirzepatide versus the semaglutide. That may be why. Ozempic, the active ingredient in Ozempic and Wegovy is semaglutide or semaglutide. The active ingredient in mounjaro and Zepbound is tirzepatide. So yeah, I was like, yeah, give me that 2-in-1 special. Oh boy. All right. Okay, so Darium, indeed, Bellflower says, I can't wait to see the growth of these medications and its impact on health and obesity in the long run. Yes, yes. And the studies, even what they've stated in the studies, um, how it helps so much. It gives, they give a percentage of how much weight loss you may lose or whatever for those who are on a weight loss journey, using Zepbound or Wegovy. Really, people are they're far succeeding over that percentage that they were given. So that's awesome too. That's awesome. So, like I said, we're finding out more and more each day how great these medications are for some people. And I know like I said, some people it's not working as well for. Keep your head up because, like Darian said, there's more that's coming along in the pipeline. All right. So Darian says, greetings to all who he has not spoken to. All right. Everybody says hi to Hajarine. And Darium. Metformin gave my sister fire diarrhea. TMI. Whew, yeah, I heard that. I heard that's what I was hearing people experiencing. That right there. The diarrhea, the skids, yeah, all kinds of ways. Every time you turn around, it was going to that running to that bathroom. So I get you with that. All right. So Level Up Stress Down says, thank you for this live. Y'all enjoy. I'm sorry. Y'all enjoy your evening. Nighty night. Nighty night to you too, Nia. Thanks for coming in. All right. So Jane says, oh, Felicia, I need the clinical name for that condition. I hope she is okay now. Have a good night. Level Up. Jane says, all right. Hadrian says, I was not skeptical at all. I didn't know anything about it, but I wanted to lose weight. So I was going to do whatever he suggested, and he would be her doctor, right? Because we're all make sure that we are talking to our doctors about, getting on the medication if we think it would be beneficial to us. Even if you don't know if it's beneficial, but you know that you've heard others' success stories, talk to your doctor about it. They may allow you to get it. Put in that PA for you so that you can go through your insurance company and hope that you get approved. But if not, you do have compound medications and doctors that can help you, if that's what you choose. All right. So Felicia says, I don't know, JC, but I hear it happens to a lot of people. Yes, I can attest to that. All right. Beautiful says, I'm also logging off for the evening. Have a wonderful night. Thank you, Kim J. Thank you, beautiful, for coming in. Good night. All right. Jane says, that is just awful at Felicia. Medicines. I know, right? Yep. See you tomorrow, beautiful. Yes. Good night, everyone. Good night, V. All right. Good night, beautiful. Good night. Hello, Jane. Hydrate says, and good night. All right, so y'all, if you all don't have anything else to say tonight, if we all hearts and minds are clear, I'm going to say good night as well to you. And I will talk to you all later. Go check out my videos I just put out. I greatly appreciate it. Check out these young ladies that they have shared their their channels tonight. Those who put the little dollar signs in the chat tonight, go ahead and check them out as well. I greatly appreciate it. Like I said, very, very good content on every one of their channels. So it will be a treat for you. Good night, Patrice. Thanks for coming in. All right. JoJo says my A1C decreased by 0.6 in a couple of months under tirzepatide, along with cutting out sweets. Awesome, awesome, JoJo. Yay to you. Awesome, awesome. That's a good non-scale victory. I like hearing. All right. See you all in these streets tomorrow. I have to do 50 squats before I go to bed. Me too. Me too, honey. Me too. Day 3, y'all. Day 3. Almost, look, we ain't got 7 more days. That's it. Countdown. All right. So that is so good. JoJo Jane says, congratulations, JoJo. All right, y'all. Okay, so good night, you all. Michelle, are you going live tonight if you're still in the chat? Not sure if you're in the chat. Michelle's mirror goes live at 10 nightly. So unless she has something else going on that she, can't get on. But check out at 10 to see if she's on. Greatly appreciate it. All right, Miss Twan, she'll go live tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Let me see. Thursday. She'll go live on Thursday. So check out again these ladies, content creators. I greatly appreciate it. And I will see y'all somewhere else in these YouTube streets. Y'all be blessed. Have a great night. Enjoy yourselves. And until next time, y'all be blessed.